Hey chat, welcome. My name is Keo. I'm a self-taught producer who uses Bandlab to make music in their bedroom. Yeah, I am a broke boy, so that's why I'm using Bandlab, and I can't afford a studio. But that's all good because I am talented. I'm the shit. Okay, that's enough placing. A few days ago, or a week ago, I released my first song, Run, on Halloween weekend. I've been learning how to produce for a couple months now, but I originally made this beat back in May 2025 when I was still very new to music production. I came back to it 6 months later, now, because I felt it would be a cool and spooky song that I could post for Halloween this year. The demo was originally like a minute and a half long, but I worked on it for 3.5 hours. This project doesn't fully represent how I produce music now, so that is a disclaimer, since I've developed my skills drastically in the past couple of months. I was actually inspired by a song called Red Light by RJ Passon and QK Rain. So here's an example. Here's the thing with what I like about the song is the guitar, the gloomy reverb, dense 808, and bouncy drums. And there were also a lot of Tron edits at the time because it was released in like January 2025. And seeing all over on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, it inspired me. I was also chronically online, and I thought it'd be pretty cool to like make a song that could be used in edits. As cringy as it sounds, call me a cornball, but I thought it would be pretty cool to, get famous through edits. So for the next section, let's get started on guitar. So I already talked about my inspiration. Let's talk about how I actually began this song making process. So over here, I had guitar. I usually start with chords. It comes naturally to me. I know a bit of music theory from high school, so this was the fastest part for me. This is in the key of E minor. I use a C major 7, B dominant 7, E minor 7, and A dominant 7. And believe it or not, this is a very, very common chord progression that you may hear in pop or R&B music. I want to have a guitar part in the song, and I made it complicated as well as bouncy, similar to like, I guess some inspirations I have or influences are RJ Passon, Polyphia, Ichikanito. And I actually made this riff on an acoustic guitar first, before inputting to MIDI. Funny enough, though, I still struggle to play my own riff, but it's still pretty fun and satisfying to play. I just use MIDI since I couldn't play my riff perfectly. By the way, if you're curious what I use, I deadass just use the acoustic guitar instrument, and I use stereo. Stereo-wise, I'm still learning music production, so there's always more mixing and mastering techniques that I could learn. Now that's it. I made variations of the guitar parts throughout the project, so you could see like I had this riff. Fancy guitar, very rhythmic, to very chillaxed whole note guitar. Over here we got more rhythm. This is the pre-chorus part, so it's supposed to add more like tension that would lead into the beat drop. So, and then the beat drop, you hear this part. Boom. I have made other guitar parts here, so what I do want to mention is like this. By the way, I use acoustic guitar again, but I have effects. You can use this if you want in your music. The reason why I made a bunch of variations because like a lot of popular music or just good songwriting, you do not want to have the same stuff over because it would fatigue the audience's ears, right? They would get bored of it or annoyed. So there's that. And it didn't take long for me to create the variations for the verse, pre-chorus, and chorus. But I will say that I did have trouble with the second half of the song. That was because when I got back in the song, I had to rack my brain on how to change up the flow of the beat to keep things interesting. And these are the slow pace guitar parts that I made here, so that people wouldn't be stimulated after all the bouncy sections in the chorus right here, because there's a lot going on. For the chorus though, you'll notice that I have this. So this is acoustic guitar as well. It's like acoustic guitar, Here are the effects, my personal made plugin. You would not, honestly, if I heard this, I would not have thought an acoustic guitar. Yeah, I just have this reverb, and it's a low frequency guitar because it's actually in the key, not key, but it's in the C2, C4 range. So it just fills out like the other frequencies that the main guitar part doesn't fill out. In the second half of the song, I also have arpeggios here. Over here, I also doubled up on the octave, and if you pay attention, you'll notice that this top part is actually delayed by a quarter note. Simply, I just didn't want them to play at the same time because I thought that would be pretty boring. I just wanted to have variation. I just literally fucked around for variation since this chorus, the second chorus, there's only 2 choruses if you notice. This is 16 measures long, very long. It's twice as long as the first chorus. So I had to sprinkle something different so people wouldn't be bored of this, of this beat. But other than that, most of the guitar parts are just copy and pasted throughout the project. So the next thing I developed was the drum section. Mind you, I'm not the best when it comes to drums or percussion, but it's always something I try to improve on. At first, I wanted to copy Red Light's drum pattern, which follows closely to Jersey Club. It's just my song is a much slower tempo. And I actually focus more on the dense sounding kicks rather than the actual rhythm. So if we look over here, I actually double up on the kicks to add some oomph in my beats. So if we take this, yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Yeah, I want to have my own flavor, so you'll notice that the intermediate and offbeat percussion aren't really similar to the song or in the trap atmosphere at all. And some could argue that the sound design in this song is definitely questionable or abnormal, but there's some authenticity to this because this is a song that I made 6 weeks into learning how to produce music. And just like my guitar part, I also struggled with structuring the second half of the song, mainly verse 2, because I had to change up the flow after having the first chorus. I made this section in halftime to slow down the song, to get people grounded, right? Because there's a lot of going on measures before. When we enter pre-chorus 2, though, that's when we pick up a little bit more pace. Yeah, and then for chorus, it's just copy and pasted for the first one, so you'll hear it pretty soon. Copy and pasting is a pretty common thing in music production. It allows for predictability and familiarity for the audience to be attached to your product. It's nothing new. It's been happening for decades, centuries. It's just how music works. That's how people get attached to things. Section 3, guys. Bassline and the piano. I'm gonna be real, bro. The bassline took the least amount of time to make, as well as the piano. I wanted to make a sustained notes for the downbeats, but some staccato fits for a jumpy rhythm. If you don't know what I mean by fifth, this goes to music theory, just basics of like, this is your tonic, meaning your starting note of your chord, and the fifth is basically, if you just sing a scale like, I was about to sing and realized I can't sing for shit. Just listen. Oh, these are octaves. Okay, never mind. Sorry. My script, I wrote something wrong. These are octaves. Boom, 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 boom. So there's that. Yeah, and the reason why is that it helps ramp the song to the beat drop and release the tension. So that's where you get the satisfying beat drop, and that's why the concept beat drops exist. So I'll play this. Yeah, overall, I just want my bass line to fill out the lower frequencies that the guitar can't do, and also accompany the rhythm of the drums. Now, for the piano, this is introduced in the second half of the beat. So I do the same method. Mind you, in the demo of the song, the piano was not implemented because, again, this is the second half of the song. 6 months ago, I was not thinking about this yet. And it's like a pseudo bass line that complements with the actual bass. I wanted more variation and depth with the bass line, so having this was actually pretty worth it in my opinion. And let's have it combined. Now, there's this cool part I added. It's basically a lead. Weirdly enough, I am using the exceedingly nice synth bass. I'm using a fucking bass. Don't ask why. And also, this is a public domain plugin that you can also just use by just searching it up. This is where the pre-chorus starts, right here, measure 22, and I created this weird ass lead that's actually made from, like I said, a synth bass, and I used this plugin to add some more movement before the beat drop. Low-key, I was fucking around, so when I made this weird sound, these effects, I just kept it because I thought it was cool. I know some of you beat makers or producers might find this stupid, and my response to that is suck my dick. Sounds like an alien sound. Yeah. Yeah, that's literally the second version. And the reason why it's not as like jump beat is because it actually complements with this bass line in the second pre-chorus here. So here. Basically the bass because I changed the bass line here, so let's have a listen. And they're playing with each other, playing around each other, and I like that. It adds like, what do you call it? There's a groove to it. Okay, section 5, voice lines and sound effects. So this will be the longest section. I think what makes this beat special is that I originally started out with guitar, drums, and a movie quote, and I was strictly trying to find a movie quote to, see if I can make an edit song out of it. And it's crazy to think that 6 months ago I actually thought about making an edit beat, and this is what I came up with.
What would you do?
So if you hear this,
if a vicious enemy suddenly started coming at you, armed to the teeth, and ready to kill you?
The quote itself is eerie and adds a lot of tension, which helps with leading to the beat drop. I add other sound effects like door sounds, doorbells, random echo, gun cocking, and a literal Vox gated riser. So producers out there probably know this sound way too well. But yeah, I did this for just immersion reasons. I just want something like could just sound cool, right? It's just storytelling. It doesn't have to be that deep. It just sounds like, oh, there's immediate danger and shit's about to happen. And then beat drops goes. Yeah. In certain parts of this song, I actually had a sound effect. Let's just play it. That's good. Yeah, I just added this effect. It was like, which kind of sounds like someone clicking their mouth or their cheek. If you love anime, then you can guess where these voice lines are from. And you can also guess from the thumbnail picture I used for my beat too. It's Chainsaw Man. I watched the Reze Arc movie with my friends 3 weeks ago, and it got me pretty inspired to use their voice lines from the characters in the song as a cool Halloween beat. Also, I felt the original movie clip I used in the intro and gunshot gunshot sounds fit perfectly for Chainsaw Man because, all the enemies and the protagonists have to face. The Gun Devil is the enemy that's armed and dangerous, but you could also assume Makima would also fit that role too.
私はゾンビの悪魔を殺しに来た公安のデビルハンターなんだ君の選択肢は2つコーヒー悪魔として私に殺されるかこの
Yeah, pretty hype. Loki, he's kind of tweaking. Anyways, you also hear Aki in the other parts of the song. And Power. She's doing the DaVinci chop. Yeah, at the song, I then just copy and pasted from the intro. To just close up everything. This time though, I added a Pachita bark because why not? Shout out to Pachika, by the way.
What would you do if a vicious enemy suddenly started coming at you, armed to the teeth and ready to kill you?
Oh, that was a lot to cover, but I hope you enjoyed this, y'all. If not, I'm gonna send Makima to your doorsteps. Sorry, okay, I wouldn't actually do that. Plus, many of you guys out there are fucking weirdos and would probably love that. Pigs. Overall, I had a lot of fun making this beat, both 6 months ago and even now revisiting it. I made sure not to change too much of the sound design because of my current skills. If I did, that would take away the authenticity of the original idea. I didn't want that. I hope this gets the traction it deserves, but I also intend on releasing more music and promoting old stuff anyways. Anywho, lads, that's it for the video. I don't know why I said lads. I guess I'm Irish now. Top of the morning, okay, I cannot. Thanks for watching. Let me know down below what are your thoughts on the beat. Feel free to sub, like, or share my content. It would help my channel and the other adjacent platforms for snippets, teasers, and more content. If you want more of that, like the additional content, I got my Linktree. You can check it out, mainly on Instagram and TikTok. Have a good one, chat. Peace.